sounds like a stripper. My mother gave me that.
The roar of applause was loud, but the silence that followed it was louder. Under the cold gleam of studio lights and the echo of screaming audiences, one man carried his story, not just through roles, but through every crease his face now bore. Born March 17, 1951 in Springfield, Massachusetts, the only son among three sisters, Jill, Jody, and Jamie, he arrived with dreams in hand and a legacy to build. His father, Bing, a former professional baseball player turned familiar face in Western films, taught him early that nothing worth keeping comes easily. His mother, Louise Julia, a dancer full of grace and light, taught him rhythm, movement, the belief that life itself is a stage. At 6, the family packed into a car and drove west to California, chasing a dream that never waited. In Thousand Oaks, the boy learned his first hard lesson: show up, be early, be ready. While others scraped knees playing, he memorized lines under hot lamps. His father's mantra: "My dad taught me discipline, but he never gave me comfort. If I wanted something, I had to earn it." That became the backbone of his life. By age 11, he was a professional actor. Appearances beside his father, in television, film, then signed by Walt Disney himself as the studio's final contract actor before Disney's death. The triumph felt heavy, because while the world adored him, he feared they would never see him. He said later, "Disney gave me everything, but it also made me afraid that people would never see who I really was." Still, he found an escape beyond the sets, on the diamond. After long days of filming, he'd lace up cleats, chase the crack of bat and the smell of pine. His heart belonged to baseball, not to spotlights, but fate wrote its script instrumentally. The more the world adored him, the smaller his world became. The applause was loud, the silence after it, louder. Dinners in company, the calm house afterwards, the hum of emptiness between who he was and who the world wanted those haunted him. At 18, he joined the California Air National Guard, craving structure, grit, purpose. In cold dawns, uniform pressed, he learned endurance, the truth that standing tall, working hard, silent pride in pain mattered. He lost his childhood to the noise of dreams, but in that loss, he found strength to become something immortal. The contract with Disney at 11. A boy becomes symbol, but the weight of expectation settles on his smile. The rotator cuff tear in the minor leagues. One swing, one pop, one career ended. In the buzzing locker room, he sat alone. The glove beside him turned relic. Purpose stolen. The film with John Carpenter in 1979, playing Elvis Presley, not copying the legend but understanding the loneliness behind the crown. The world watches and sees the man. Monarch, legacy of monsters. Father and son on screen. Two eras, one bloodline, a legacy past, without fanfare, with truth. The early days unfolded quietly. A boy with a baseball glove, a suit jacket for auditions, parents who moved mountains but lived simply. Road trips, sets, studio gates. In California, the dawns came early, the lines memorized faster. Rehearsals followed by games. The dual lives, actor by day, kid by dusk, yet never fully safe in either. He was America's boy, the kid with the smile, the clean image, and yet he belonged to no one. The father taught firm handshakes. The mother taught gentle movement. Together they raised children in motion, not static comfort. Poverty did not test them, uncertainty did. The dream hovered, but refused to settle. At 18, the Air National Guard uniform became real. Structure replaced spotlight. Gray mornings replaced midday cameras. He learned the language of standing tall, of doing long days and quiet nights. The camps, the missions, the grit these built roots where Hollywood built facades. Those years didn't bring riches, but they built habit, endurance. He didn't know then that when the camera would turn away, this would hold him up. The 1970s came with change, Hollywood shifting, the heroes darker, the smiles sharper. The safe kid from Disney found himself too clean, too bright, too unscarred. At 20, he traded scripts for cleats again, joining the California Angels minor league system, sunlight for spotlights. The crack of bat, the smell of pine tar, the weight of leather glove became real. Until one afternoon, a pop in the shoulder, then heat, then the verdict. Torn rotator cuff, career over. In the locker room, he stayed long after others left. Sweat dried to salt. The air smelled of dirt and loss. The glove beside him, no longer equipment, but relic. He could have vanished, but he was his father's son, stubborn, built of resolve. You don't quit, Bing had said. You rebuild. And so he turned back to the cameras, on his own terms. The early 70s weren't kind. Too young for the old guard, too clean for rebels. TV cameos, dusty westerns, pilots that died. Studios that once rang his name now neglected his calls. He wasn't starving, but he was fading. Nights where silence felt alive, he'd sit in his small apartment, trophies and old scripts stacked like ghosts around him. The refrigerator hummed the only voice. Later, I wasn't angry when baseball ended. I was just lost. And when you're lost, you either sit down or start walking. He walked, he studied the craft, not the fame. Learned to act without pretending, to live without applause. Survival was less about holding on, more about becoming something new. Then, 1979, the phone rang. Director John Carpenter asked him to play Elvis Presley. It was madness, a gamble, resurrection, waiting. When cameras rolled, something inside him caught fire. He didn't mimic Elvis. He embodied the loneliness, the adoration, the myth behind the man. Critics stunned, audiences quiet before they cheered. An Emmy nomination followed. The real win? The still moment when viewers saw the man behind the myth, the boy behind the man. From dirt diamonds to camera glare, from shoulder pain to fire in his eyes, he was reborn. Lost childhood, lost dream, lost direction, but unbroken will. He rose not with scandal, not with spectacle, but with quiet endurance. When smoke cleared, Hollywood saw not a star, not a symbol, but a man of flesh, silence, steel. Nothing left to prove something left to become. The early 80s brought transformation. In 1981, Escape from New York debuted. Audiences met Snake Plissken, eye-patched outlaw, throbbing swagger, new kind of hero. But behind swagger was a man who'd spent 20 years trying to escape his own past. After Disney, Hollywood didn't know what to do with him, too clean for villains, too grown for boyish charm. The phone mostly silent for a decade. Applause turned to echo. Yet that silence planted a seed. If the old image doesn't work, rebuild a new one. 1982 brought The Thing. Designed as resurrection, instead, a crucifixion. Critics called it vile, soulless, too cruel. Studio lost millions. Overnight, the Disney kid turned action star became box office poison. After premiere, films cleared out fast. He sat in dark theater, smell of burnt popcorn and cold dust. A man watching his own name vanish. He disappeared. Not to retreat, to rebuild. The noise stops, he later said, and you hear yourself asking if it was all for nothing. But time proved him right. Years later, both The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China became cult epics, streaming royalties. In every flop lay a seed of fortune, every rejection, a residual reward. When others stopped believing, he worked until they had no choice but to remember. Then the 90s, 4 films in 5 years heavy. Backdraft, Tombstone, Stargate, Executive Decision. He worked 15-hour days, 6 days a week, rewriting scenes at dawn when directors walked out. Shoulder long broken, screamed with every stunt. On Tombstone, he slept in trailer for weeks, eating in silence, holding chaos together without credit. Every frame looked effortless crew later. None of it was. He won not by noise, but by nerve, by discipline, endurance, outlasting those who chased glory. Yet still no golden statue called his name, no Oscar, no Golden Globe, no thunderous applause. Hollywood crowned louder men, flashier names. He watched peers win and fade while he remained steady, quiet, unawarded. Respected, but never revered. Gave everything and still stood in shadows of spotlight. He bore it without bitterness. Work doesn't, he said. And that became his truth. Unseen metal pinned to endurance. At his peak, he earned $10 to $15 million per film. Not from spectacle, from stamina. A wage earned through exhaustion. In 1998, he admitted softly, "I worked myself until I forgot what my own voice sounded like." Yet his voice still carried weight, the sound of a man refusing to be forgotten. Into the 2000s, Hollywood changed. Capes, capers, instant fame, social media. Paychecks shrank from 15 to 3 million. Scripts slowed. Fame aged faster than he did, but he never chased what was gone. "You can't measure success by applause," he said. "You measure it by how much of yourself you've got left when it's over." Still, he built, slowly, quietly. The Hateful Eight, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, The Christmas Chronicles, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. Each era found him reinvented, proof that staying power is rarest fame. Over 70 films, nearly 90 million in lifetime earnings. Combined net worth with longtime partner Goldie Hawn above $200 million on his empire, not in marble, but in meaning. Then the homes. From their Rogers Mountain Ranch in Colorado, a 10,000 SQFT timber lodge, rising like a cathedral of wood and stone against high ridges, to Pacific Palisades Sanctuary with ocean light. Every estate radiated quiet majesty of earned peace. Cedar scent, echo of laughter, glow of hearth and home. These were his true crowns. No gilded gates, just sanctuaries carved by 2 hands that built everything from nothing. Each beam, each acre, each sunrise speaks of a man who mastered fame, fortune, and faith, and turned them into a legacy that will outlive time. But the story isn't about money. It's about the price he paid to earn it. Because behind the calm legend was a man who bled quietly for every role. Walked barefoot across shattered glass of life on screen and in silence. Every success came wrapped in sacrifice. Every triumph shadowed by what it cost. Behind applause were nights of aching solitude, where his own heart pounded beneath the noise of fame. In 1979, he met Susan Hubley on set of Elvis. 2 dreamers. They married, had son Boston. For a while, the world was small. Then careers stormed ahead. Distance drifted between them. After 4 years, they parted quietly. No war, just grown-ups letting go. He became a father still. Weekend games, stories, car rides. He moved through that heartbreak with gentleness. He learned showing up mattered more than owning. A devoted dad. He later said, "You don't lose love. You just learn where it belongs." Then his world changed again. He met Goldie Hawn. 2 broken hearts, recognized each other. On set of Swing Shift, they laughed. That laugh broke walls. They built love in action, not vow. Coffee, mismatched mugs, construction dust, laughter through unfinished rooms. He never tried to replace the father of her children. He simply became the man who showed up. Their son, Wyatt, born 1986. They lived not with contract, but choice. In a town of ephemeral fame, theirs became an empire of quiet endurance. Together they invested, restored, built meaning. They fought, yes, but stayed. A meditation retreat, a broken fence, he waited. He said, "It's easy to stay when it's easy. It's staying when it's hard that makes it worth it." Rumors of splits, they just showed up. Their ranch became refuge. Love tested by decades and headlines. It became legacy. In 2017 on Hollywood Walk of Fame, they stood side by side. The crowd roared. Their moment was quiet. She whispered, "I could never imagine being here without you." He smiled. "You were always here." No rings, no vows, only presence. But time keeps promise. Everything we love will one day take. His father Bing died 2003, and his mother Louise later. Loss didn't shatter him, it shaped him. In Colorado, he walked into stables, smelled hay and pine, memory thick in air. "He taught me how to fall and how to get back up," he said. He grieved through work, fixes, fences, building cabin his father helped raise. Loss layered on his shoulders. Friends died. He carried them quietly. Grief is the price of having lived fully. He paid it. He poured grief into family dinners, grandchildren laughter, drives with Goldie through mountains, homes, land, legacy. They were sanctuaries of memory. Every plank of wood, every acre is a story I'm still telling for them. He endured defined by loss, but not destroyed. He learned that love, when lived fully, outlives even death. The houses remain. The wind carries names. Every morning that breaks over ranch, proof that what time takes, love quietly rebuilds. And then time tested him. In 2021, doctors said, "Time to stop." His hip worn. Under sterile lights, he looked less gunslinger, more man returning from war. Goldie by his side. "It's just maintenance," he joked. When woke, first asked, "Can I still ride?" Goldie smiled. "Maybe not today, but soon." The hardest part, seeing him still try to be strong. He'd fought his body for decades, rotator cuff, stunts, harnesses. By 50, he'd spent more time in pain than peace. Shoulder flared, back stiff. He never complained. If you start counting your bruises, you'll forget why you got them. That philosophy guided him. Pain, not punishment, but proof of purpose. Rumors surfaced of illness, but he answered not. Some battles don't need audiences. He chose silence. Their ranch became recovery ground. Sunrise coffee, pine smell, walks. Shoulder ached, but he moved forward. Silver hair glinting, frame slightly bowed, but no less certain. He began to speak less of movies, more of mornings, discipline, balance, gratitude. "You don't win against time," he once said. "You learn to work with it." Wealth, legacy, fame, none could buy another heartbeat. So he treated each day like dividend of endurance, investing in the only empire that truly mattered now: peace. Today, at 74, he moves with steady calm. Slower, perhaps, but no less certain. He rides when can, meditates when can't. Thanks mountains for standing when his knees won't. Goldie calls it grace disguised as grit. To him, it's just living. The man who once built homes of wood and stone now builds something quieter, a home within himself. Because at end, time takes everything but meaning. And he, after all the stunts, scripts, and scars, has earned his. You can't buy more years, but you can earn more life in the ones you have. He said, "Maybe the trick isn't to fight time, it's to walk beside it." And somewhere in that truth lies the gentlest courage. The courage to keep waking up, to keep showing up, even when no one is watching. In the hush of the Rockies, pine wind hums. He sits with Goldie as sun lifts behind peaks. No speeches, no lessons, just two souls still here. Proof that the quietest lives often echo the longest. Now at 74, he stands not as man chasing light, but one who's learned to live beautifully in its afterglow. The decades stripped away noise, leaving something purer. Peace, purpose, the quiet satisfaction of a life fully earned. Hollywood's maverick, once the rebel who defied the system, now spends mornings not on set, but under Colorado sun. Coffee in hand, silver hair glinting like frost. For first time in lifetime of motion, he has nothing to prove and everything to remember. If this story moved you, if you've ever found courage in quiet places or faith in those who stayed, leave your heart, a light, a tribute. Because every story like this deserves to be remembered. Every act of endurance deserves its echo. May your days be filled with health, your home with laughter, and your life with the kind of wealth that never fades, the wealth of peace, purpose, and love.